Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. Welcome to this week's episode of Inside Arsenal Extra Time. As always, I'm joined by James Benge of CBS Sports. James, good to see you, mate. How are you getting on?
Yeah, very well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Very good. New room.
New room. Yeah. I know I said to people watching last week, we had the decorators in. That was downstairs. This is all our doing. And by our doing, I of course mean my fantastic father-in-law. Yeah, we went a bit mad on the green. This is me outing myself as what I know everyone has always known I am, a secret Plymouth Argyle fan. Before long, these bookshelves will be a bit more full as well. But you can just see that I can't really there little Arsenal book, and you probably can't quite see.
I can see it.
Your book is there. Your book is
why is
there.
it not at the front? I can't even see it. There's another book.
Yeah, I know. I realise that, but you know what it is. I'm a bit. I'm very particular about how I organise books, and Lawrence is ahead of Watts alphabetically, so you're forever going to be hidden away.
I will let you off.
You are ahead of Arsene Wenger.
If I turned this camera a little bit, you would actually. I get so many complaints about the fact that there is a door in the camera shot. But if I just move the camera a little bit, you'll see I'm actually in like the thinnest, smallest room ever. And I do have some shelves there, but they look an awful lot messier than your shelves behind you. So I'm not going to put it onto the camera. But it looks good, mate. It looks good.
Yeah, this door thing, please let us know what that's about in the comments.
Apparently, people in the comments say it's unsettling. I think they think that someone is going to walk through it. It's like they can't concentrate because they think someone's going to walk through the door. It's really bizarre. It'd never come into my head at all, but quite a lot of people have said it. But unfortunately, again,
episode 200, 250. I mean, unfortunately, I think we passed episode 49 now. What we just need is Mikel Arteta to walk through one of these doors, sit down and do a hour and a half chat with us. Mikel.
That would be nice. We'll set the wheels in motion for that. What are the chances?
If we get a request in now, we may get it before we retire.
And we'll still get a no from Arsenal for that. But yeah, apparently the door thing is unsettling. So apologies to everyone, but I can't do anything about it. The room I'm in, I literally, no matter which way I turn the camera, unless I just face that wall, you're always going to see the door. So it is what it is. Anyway, that was a good night last night. That was a lot of fun. It was a good day. We had started it off with a nice Spanish meal in Finsbury Park, didn't we? Made our way to the stadium. You went in the press room. I obviously went to into my seat with my dad. And yeah, can't complain about that night. It was a very, very good, fun result.
Crucially, we've discovered what the winning formula is as well. So we've been to that restaurant 3 times, Luna Lena on Stroud Green Road. You find us there now, it would appear, before every Champions League tie. Well, we've been there before Arsenal beat Real Madrid 3-0, before they beat Atletico Madrid 4-0, and before they lost to Paris Saint-Germain. So it would appear, we need to double check this against whoever the next opponents at the Emirates are, but it would appear that if we eat the representative food of the visiting nation beforehand, Arsenal win. So who's next at the Emirates in the Champions League?
Bayern.
Oh,
is it Bayern? It is Bayern, isn't it?
It is Bayern, isn't it?
I didn't go the first time. Obviously, I was in Centre Parks and I missed Real Madrid at home last season, didn't I? So I didn't go for your meal at that place. So this was my second pre-match meal there, and we'd lost. The only time I've been there before, we'd obviously lost in the semi-final to PSG. So I was a bit nervous because I'm a very superstitious guy. I was a little bit nervous about doing this yesterday, but thankfully, it seems like if Arsenal play a Madrid-based team, then that is definitely the restaurant to go to. So we will keep that in mind. We'll keep that
first thing, and then is it Kairat at home? Because I don't even think in London you can find a Kazakh restaurant.
I'm sure you probably could somewhere.
Hey, you probably could.
But not sure it's Finsbury Parkway or North London way, but you never know. So, yeah, good game. Can't complain about that result, can you?
I thought it was phenomenal. And I actually thought it was really good from start to finish. I know that, like, even Arteta in his presser was sort of like, Arsenal needed to improve. I needed to take a step up. And like, I'm not disputing that they got a little bit better after that wobbly period earlier in the first half. But like, wire to wire, I was like, Arsenal are so much better than Atletico Madrid. You only ever thought that like that either Julian Alvarez might do something spectacular, and he is spectacular, or that David Raya might do something mad again. That felt like the only chance Atleti had, and You know, we could. I don't think we need to like massively indulge the like Arsenal only score from set pieces argument because it. But like this game, you're like they're just absolutely hammering Atletico. They've like taken up residence in the final third. They're creating all these chances, and it just happened that the first one to go in was a set piece. But I thought 4-0 was really like reflective of the difference between those sides, and it's worth saying that one of those sides is Atletico Madrid. 3 years ago, I think Arsenal fans would have understandably been pretty intimidated by the prospect of them rolling into town, but they're just brushed aside like they aren't one of the top teams in Europe. I thought it was brilliant. Proper great European night.
Do you remember before the quarterfinal last year when we knew it was going to be either Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid? There was a real debate over who Arsenal fans would want, and lots of people saying, "Oh, Real Madrid definitely," because Atletico will be a horrible team to play against. We'll really struggle. It'll be a low block and all that sort of stuff. And obviously, the fact we played them yesterday and beat them 4-0 showed that they could have been a sort of comfortable one. I mean, there was a couple of sliding doors moment, wasn't there? I mean, if Alvarez's shot at the start of the second half had just dipped underneath the bar and Atletico had got themselves in front, you wouldn't have really fancied. You wouldn't have wanted to go a goal behind to that team, would you? So there was, but when you're playing a top quality team in the Champions League, there are always going to be sort of moments in games where it could have gone the other way. Arsenal survived that. Obviously, they survived the scare in the first half when Raya went walkabout and nearly got caught out. But I thought the first half was a good performance from Arsenal. There was, easily could have got in front. You had Eze hit the bar straight away. Rice should have scored the follow up. Really, but he put it over. You had that lovely little ball from Eze that sort of played in Bukayo Saka, and Oblak just about sort of kept it out almost with his shoulder or his face, didn't he, when Saka got past him. Martinelli had the goal that was ruled out. Luis Skelly dragged that shot across just past the far post, but if there's someone there, it's a tap in for 1-0. So there was good moments in that first half, even if all of the goals came in the second and really burst into life in the second. Like you said, there were some good moments in that first half.
Yeah, it felt to me like a team utterly at ease with their style. Felt like the changes had worked really nicely as well. The players that came in really felt the pressure to deliver on this performance. I mean,
what did you make of the starting lineup first of all? Quickly, actually, what did you make of that lineup? Were you surprised by it?
No. It was the one I predicted, and it's so rare that happens.
I got the fullbacks wrong. I thought it changed one, but I thought White would start and Calafiori would stay in the left, but he obviously did the other thing.
Need to get some Ben White minutes ASAP. I mean, hopefully the next week will afford that. So it makes sense to me. I think there's something about the Champions League that makes Gabriel Martinelli light up. I think Luis Skelly's sort of a bit. But any left back he'd have named would have been absolutely fine, I think, for the occasion. So I think that's like the right way to rotate as well, isn't it? Is you sort of pick out a pod almost and you swap that in. Looks like Luis Skelly and Martinelli kind of pair quite well together. And other than that, I mean, I suppose the joy of it was you still got some time towards the end to get Zubimendi off, to get Gyokeres off. I don't think you could quite have afforded to rest them. I need to sort of see a bit more Champions League to know how important it is that Arsenal gets a first or top 4. Certainly, we know that top 8 has got to be a big target, but you don't want to be sort of playing fast and loose with this game because you just have to play Inter and Bayern. So I think any drop points here could have been the sort that might have left you open to slipping up. So I thought it was the right lineup, and hey, boy, was he vindicated.
Yeah. So second half, obviously, Gabriel's goal sort of kick-started a matter. What was it, 14 minutes, 13 minutes? I think all 4 goals went in. That was incredible delivery from Declan Rice for the goal. Brilliantly attacked by Gabriel as always, but that you don't get any better than that when it comes to a set-piece delivery. It was begging to be put away. It might even have gone in if Gabriel had missed it. It was one of those ones that it was, Oblak could have sort of been rooted to the spot, expecting the contact. When it didn't come, it could have gone in at the back post. It was just brilliant from Declan Rice. And all the talk about set pieces, we've got a couple of questions on them and the kind of how people use it against Arsenal. But for all the talk about set pieces, if you don't have someone like Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka, from the other side as well, who can deliver them the way that they do, it doesn't matter how good you've got the players attacking the ball in the centre, you're not going to score, are you? It takes so much to get right to be as good as set pieces as Arsenal are.
this is my thing about the set piece revolution and the long throw revolution and all that we're supposedly seeing in the war that we are seeing in the Premier League this season. I kind of think to anyone else that wants to try it, good luck. I hope you've got a player like Gabriel. It was really like striking how Marco Silva on Saturday was talking about Gabriel. It sounded a little bit like, I'm not exaggerating, but like the experience was like what I imagine it's a bit like basketball coaches in the like 90s talking about what it's like if you just leave Michael Jordan open, where it's just like, if you make that mistake, or like if you leave Steph Curry open for a shot, if you drop Joe Root in the 40s, it's like you're dead. You only need, Fulham got it wrong once. Atleti kind of had like keyed in on Gabriel, but one time someone let him get a run. I mean, the marking was atrocious. He was running on his own, and that's all it takes. And I mean, that delivery. I've been watching a lot of David Beckham lately for my sins. It's Beckham level. That's all you can say. I know there are people in the comments, by the way, that don't like when I compare current Arsenal players to legendary former footballers of other teams. That will continue, though. People in the comments that complain about that.
Someone mentioned in my show, asked a question in my show today, saying, "Is Declan Rice the best in the world at set piece deliveries now?" And I was sort of mulling it over, thinking, I can't think of anyone better right now than Declan Rice. Just the whip he gets on it, from whether it's a corner, whether it's a free kick from that sort of position that he did yesterday. If there is someone better than him at set piece delivery, I don't know. I can't think of anyone. I don't know about you.
Lionel Messi.
Yeah, that's taking free kicks, as in scoring free kicks. But I mean actual delivery for someone to attack and score. I don't know anyone who gets the trajectory, the whip, the pace that Declan Rice does. I really don't.
I think you are right there. It's been so long since we've seen James Ward-Prowse take a free kick as well, or like put a corner in. I think you'll probably. There's no one that springs to my mind either.
No, I mean, he's right. If he's not number one, he's right up there. It must be. If we're forgetting about someone, I had a couple of questions on set pieces. So while we're talking about them, we may as well sort of cover it here. DJ on the Discord said, "Why do you think we face so much criticism over scoring so many goals from set pieces? I've seen the criticism time and time again, but it's not like other teams are being stopped from also working on set piece routines. There's no point just hitting hoping with corners and these medium range free kicks. You may as well do whatever you can to turn them into goals. So why is it we seem to be the only team who puts so much work into ensuring they are right? Do you think the criticism is part of the fact it's Arsenal? And would a team like Madrid or Man City face the same level of criticism?" It is weird to be criticised for being exceptionally good at something, isn't it? But I suppose most of that criticism kind of comes out of jealousy, really, doesn't it? Because it is, I mean, it's you don't really hear coaches, I suppose, on a slot at a bit of a dig maybe the other day, but it tends to be from fans, isn't it, who are just getting annoyed at seeing Arsenal doing so well at set pieces and scoring so much again from set pieces. It tends to be more from fans than actual people within the game.
I do wonder the extent to which Arsenal might have created the environment for that discourse, though, because there were few fan bases quite as riled by Bolton Wanderers and then by Stoke City as Arsenal. I honestly, I kind of enjoy I enjoy the experience and like the tension of a set piece attack for Arsenal, and especially after Gabriel's goal, you could like feel the Emirates like rippling with excitement anytime there was a free kick. My pitch to Arsenal supporters watching this, if you're in the ground, like try and make all these set pieces into moments. Like I'm thinking slow claps here. I'm thinking little thunder rumbles, whatever you can. The Icelandic thunderclap. Do that.
They have done that before. I remember. I think last season they did that before. But there's a brilliant video of Gyokeres' second goal yesterday taken from the North Bank behind Declan Rice, and everyone's kind of got their phones out, and there is that anticipation of, that there's something kind of coming from this situation, and I think they are turning into these big moments, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, like in the end, there's a sort of worry about the aesthetics of football, aren't there? I think the one thing you would say that is a genuine concern about a league that becomes more set piece oriented is we've seen the ball in play for less time this season than like any other season in recent memory. And I don't always love it when Arsenal are taking like 90 seconds over a free kick, and especially long throws. I'd like to see that change a bit. I'd just like to see more football. That's the one like thing where I would sort of agree with the critics, but equally, like, look, it's not only Arsenal that do this. Aston Villa are really good at it. Palace have worked hard, and if your team's not one of the ones that exploits this, like it's been in the ether for like 15 years. You go back to the Michelin team that won the league in Denmark, and I think they scored twice as many set pieces as anyone else, and just then came out of nowhere to win the league. It is something that your team can work on. Everything I hear out of Arsenal is it's not something that Arteta and Nicolas Jova spend a huge amount of training working on, but it's something that you take a bit of time, you add a bit of time to your day, work on it, and then if you happen to have, like we said, the best takers and the best attackers of it, you'll probably get rewarded.
I mean, David here says, with the trend of more teams focusing on set pieces and following the success Arsenal have had with a set piece, how long do you think the advantage Arsenal have will last? Or is it a case that as long as Rice and Saka, who can deliver on the money crosses, and players like Gabriel, who consistently attack the crosses, we will stay top of the game? See, I remember last season when Gabriel got injured at the end of last season and Saka was out. You know, Arsenal's ability to score from set piece did go down drastically. You know, it was a long time that Arsenal went without scoring a set piece. So as much as it is about Nicolas Jova and all that stuff, it does kind of boil down to having probably the best defender in the world, or not even defender, best player in the world at attacking dead ball situations, and having arguably the best dead ball taker in the world as well. You know, it does kind of just boil down to that. It's kind of like the perfect storm at Arsenal at the moment, really.
It's so funny, isn't it? You see like all this, like these weird like congregations at the back post, and you know, all the hand signals and all that, and you know, although Arsenal do try a few different things, like Saka's hitting a lot of lower ones that are to get flicked on at the near post, isn't he? But like, still, it's just like the ones Arsenal score from is when either Saka or Rice just puts it on Gabriel's head. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and I think with David, it's the second part of the question. If you're hitting the ball to Gabriel and Gabriel's like getting free, that's gonna work. As long as you've got those fundamental ingredients. I don't think there's a huge amount coaches can do other than stop Gabriel getting to the ball.
I mean, it does just boil. It's as simple as that, though, isn't it? Yeah. It really is. If Gabriel gets free and the delivery is right, then something's going to happen.
Yeah,
you know, it's either going to force a save, something. You know, he's going to have a good chance of goal. He's going to get one back across goal like he did for Viktor Gyokeres yesterday. I mean, let's talk about Viktor. It was a big night for Viktor.
No, I'm not done on Gabriel. I want to ask you one question.
Go on then. I will bring. Wait. Let me bring a Big Vic off the screen.
Get rid for now.
He doesn't distract us.
Do you think it's possible? Let's say that Arsenal have the dream season. You know, they win one.
What is the dream season?
Okay, let's say they win the Premier League and the Champions League, or let's do two from the following three. Arsenal win the Premier League, Arsenal win the Champions League, Brazil win the World Cup. Could Gabriel win the Ballon d'Or?
Could he? No, I don't think he could.
Should he? Isn't it? Yeah.
Should he? Absolutely. He should be in the running for it if that was to happen. But I would be stunned if it did. You know, I cannot see a way that a centre back wins a Ballon d'Or for. No, I don't see it. Do you?
Maybe the Golden Boot. If he gets the Golden Boot first, then he might get the Ballon d'Or.
Well, yeah, if Arsenal win the Premier League and the Champions League, he's probably got a good shout of being Arsenal's top goal scorer at the end of the season. To be honest, I mean, before we get into Big Victor, then you were talking about Gabriel, so let's talk about this quickly before we move on to it. I mean, this is genuinely a staggering stat that Arsenal still, since they got back into the Champions League under Mikel Arteta, in the league phase or the group stage or the now league phase that started last season, they have yet to concede a goal. 9 games, 26 goals scored, and none conceded. I mean, it's genuinely remarkable statistics. Now, obviously, they have conceded in knockout games. They conceded 2 against Bayern Munich. They conceded 1 very painfully against PSG last season, of course, in those games as well. But in those group phase or league phase games, 26 scored and none conceded in 9. I mean, that is That is mental. That is such a crazy stat.
It's incredible. I mean, some of those games, the strange part of it is some of those games I just have so little memory of because Arsenal have just normalized like routine, pretty robust wins in North London, where quite often, like in the Champions League, quite often you see their best players being taken off with 20 minutes to go because they've already won the game, and it's always become this way of them like building a bit of momentum and saving energy. But now that you brought that up, I have a question for you. Don't answer it too quickly. Do you know who the last opposing player to score against Arsenal in a Champions League group stage / league phase game was?
I do know that because I read it just before. Alex Iwobi own goal.
Yeah, and before that, the actual last opposing player to score?
Oh, it was 2-2 that day, wasn't it? It was against PSG. So I can't. Who scored PSG's goal that day? Oh God. I know. I can't remember.
Edinson Cavani.
Cavani. Wow.
Not like it'll be nearly. We're approaching 9 years since Arsenal, and I know not a lot of those years they were not competing in the Champions League, but approaching 9 years since Arsenal conceded a group stage league phase.
You know where I was that night?
Centre Parks.
I was watching. No, I was watching Reading under-21s versus Wickham under-21s at Adams Park. Because I was obviously when I was Reading reporter at Reading Evening Post. I remember I was driving home when the second equaliser went in to make it 2-2. I was driving home. I was very disappointed. So yeah, that sticks in my mind, that game, for some reason. Yeah, it's an incredible record. Incredible. Did you see when Gabriel, just after Gabriel scored actually, and I think it was Simeone got in down the right hand side, and Gabriel blocked his shot. It was right in front of you. It would have been right in front of the press box, and he celebrated it. You know, and it's just the will, the desire not to concede a goal. I don't know every defender doesn't want to concede a goal, of course they do, but there just feels like there's this absolute drive and desire within Arsenal at the moment anyway, with this team, not to concede a goal. You know, they value that clean sheet so much.
It's a team effort in every context. So, you know, we saw in that game as well that David Raya cleared 4 hours without a save. I did sort of say to him after the game, I was like, "You ever tempted to like bring a book?" Knitting, maybe you could. I mean, he could get some hobbies done this season. But like, I mean, that block, I mean, it really speaks to this. Like, for all we talk about Gabriel as this set piece demon, and he is, 13% of the shots that opponents have taken on Arsenal's goal this season have been blocked by Gabriel. He's almost got as many blocks as David Raya has saves.
He's the best centre back in the world.
Yeah, he is.
I said it this morning. He is the best centre back in the world right now. There is no one else I'd want in the heart of Arsenal's defence than Gabriel.
He is phenomenal, world class, and like, yeah, and the journey he's been on. I love the tweet that Tim Stillman put out where he's sort of like, you know, I have my wife, my daughter, these are all the women in my life, and then it's like Gabriel is the man in my life. He's not a cult hero. I don't know how. I mean, he is just. I think he just embodies what people have fallen in love with about this Arsenal side, and the fact that he infuriates rivals so much, I think, makes him all the more special.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Long may that continue. Right, should we talk about Big Vic then? Because it was a big night for him. Now, I'm going to have to bring him back up on the screen now. Where is he? There's the old celebration. Did you see Gabriel Martinelli's celebration in the background in the picture?
What's he doing?
Next time we get him in the mix zone, I've got to ask what that's about, because that has to be on purpose. He can't be trying to copy Viktor Gyokeres and getting it that badly wrong. He must have done that on purpose for some reason.
Yeah, I have no idea. Is it like the monkey? We need a third one with like hands over their ears like that.
Oh, yeah. See no evil, hear no evil type thing. I'm not sure. I don't know what it is, because Gabriel does it differently, doesn't he? Gabriel does it over the hands, over the eyes, but I'm not quite sure what Martinelli was doing. It looked very funny. But anyway, on Viktor Gyokeres, it was a big night for him. It'd been a long time without a goal. Obviously, he got that classic goal. It's like when you haven't scored for a while, you just want one to bounce in off you, or, you know, get a bit of luck. And he did with that first goal, obviously. And then, as is the way with football, suddenly gone forever without a goal, and then bang, 2 in 3 minutes for him. He did a lot of interviews after the game. He spoke to your colleagues at CBS, who did a good little piece for Mika Richards in the tunnel, speaking to Thierry and Jamie Carragher in the studio. And I really liked his comment when Jamie Carragher was asking him about the number 14 shirt and whether there was sort of extra expectation and pressure on that. And he was just like, well, look, there's loads of goals in this shirt, obviously, but there's going to be loads more goals to come. And that's just the kind of thing that I've really liked about Gyokeres in this little tough spell for him. And he admitted afterwards to CBS that it was a frustrating period for him. But the one thing he never hid, he carried on making those runs. He carried on trying to get himself into the position, carried on working hard. You could see how much his teammates appreciated it. And he did get his rewards last night. And, fingers crossed now. He's on 5 for the season already. Fingers crossed now that can really sort of kick him on. And what did you make of him last night?
I think, like you, there were the things that you admired about Gyokeres. There was also some really encouraging technical moments. When he it was Jimenez, wasn't it? He did that little flick with the outside of his right foot, blew past him and drew a booking. So you could sort of see that he was, like you said, that he hadn't been dulled and made nervous by the difficulty finding the net. But I have to confess, kind of going into this game, I was sort of, I felt, I said to my editor, I feel like I'm 2 games out from writing in print, yeah, the work rate is all really good and it's important. And I don't think Gyokeres is going to be a flop, but ball has to start going in goal soon. And I mean, that's, I suppose the reality is if you do keep working, if you do keep getting yourself in those positions, then it probably will. And it did. And I in many ways, I almost enjoyed more the fact that these were such inelegant goals, because Arsenal have plenty of players who can, curl one in from just inside the box, or who can, do what Gabriel Martinelli did. Saka can do that. What we were saying all along, what do Arsenal need? Well, they probably need someone where the ball is going to bounce off particular parts of them and go in the net. And that's what they didn't have, last season against Newcastle, and, maybe in the Everton game last season, the Fulham game last season. And if Gyokeres is in position for that to happen, that's all Arsenal were missing from their squad. So in many ways, I was more encouraged that he scored such ugly goals rather than sort of spanking one in from 25 yards. I would like to see that. That sounds quite fun. But yeah, this is what Arsenal paid the Gyokeres money for.
Yeah, it's not about being elegant, is it? When you're Gyokeres in this Arsenal team, it's about being that battering ram centre forward, which he has been since he signed. But it's also about getting goals. And Mikel kind of said it afterwards in a press conference as well, didn't he? He's like, you do need to score as a striker. Of course you do. It's not just about those sort of the workman-like performances. That's not why Arsenal signed Viktor Gyokeres. It's good, it's great, and the teammates like him for it. But when you're Arsenal's number 9, and you've been signed to come in and be that guy, you do need to score. So I think it's a big night for him. I really do. I didn't see a player who was really drastically losing confidence during that barren spell. But you just know as a striker, just to have those 2 goals to your name, just to get a little bit of the scrutiny and spotlight off you for a while. You would imagine he's going to be going into Palace this weekend feeling pretty good about himself. And that's a real bonus for Arsenal.
Really, really impressed by his attitude. I'm intrigued, sort of thing I cannot answer. You and I know Mikel Arteta there, he understands his squad very well. So there will be certain players that he doesn't particularly like. Kind of you'll ask him a question about them, and it's not even really like whether he rates them or not. It's about what's best for sort of motivating them. So you will ask him about some players and they'll sort of downplay them almost.
Yeah.
And the sort of rush, or the way that the supportiveness of Gyokeres, to me, sort of almost, it clashes a little bit with what we were being told, that he's not letting this get to him. Don't worry, he's not. I know that to an extent, some of this is just it was the headlines. It was the question everyone was asking. It was, came up a lot in the pre-match press conference. How's Viktor getting on? And the best thing Arteta can do to manage that story then is to say he's great. But I would love to sort of kind of square that circle, because for me, it's something about how Arteta's managing Gyokeres that is at the very least intriguing.
Do you think he would have got the penalty if had it been given, not overturned at Fulham? Do you think Saka was going to? They were talking again while they were waiting for that to be given. I was really interested to see what was going to happen in that situation if it had been given.
I think so, and I'm probably glad that that isn't how he broke his drag, because
I
it
agree.
wouldn't have made the story go away. I don't think there's anything wrong with kind of giving the other guy the penalty, but I wouldn't want to be in the habit of like pity penalties.
No, absolutely. But it's just after what happened the first time when Saka did take the penalty, I was watching them as it was waiting for the decision, and I was really interested to see what was going to happen had it not been a overturn. But obviously, it was. Yeah. I mean, what sort of sticking with Gyokeres and maybe so much the team that we saw last night. What are you expecting against Palace now? Because when I saw that team lineup came out yesterday, where we were in the trolley together, and I remember saying to someone, I was like, well, we're definitely going to see Calafiori come back in at the weekend. Then we're definitely going to see Ben White start at the weekend if Timber's playing this game as well as against Fulham. But now I've sort of moved further away from that. I'm thinking, you know what? Tuesday night, Sunday, everyone's going to get a rest in the League Cup game next week. I don't think he's going to make that many changes for Palace. I really don't. I think Calafiori will come back in for Miles. But I think the more I think about it, the more I think that Timber's definitely going to start, because Ben White will clearly start the League Cup game next week.
So the question is, has Gabriel Martinelli kept his place?
I think Trossard will come back in. I think Martinelli will start in the League Cup, but I think Trossard will come back in at the weekend.
I mean, Munoz is such a sort of runaway train down that left wing.
That's true.
I would probably go, down the Arsenal left. I would probably bring Martinelli just to keep pace with him, and Martinelli's defensive work rate is so good. It wouldn't surprise me if that's what comes into his consideration.
Had a good night last night, Gabby. Again, didn't he? Scored in every Champions League game so far this season.
Just play that music to him. It's funny, isn't it? Because he was so close to Gabriel Jesus, and Martinelli is the first player since Jesus I've seen who just like play the Champions League music, and he's just a different player.
How good was Zubimendi last night, by the way?
Oh my lord! Oof.
Who was your man of the match? Zubimendi.
Zubimendi.
Yeah, he was mine.
Saka was close as well. Saka's pressing in that first half, the way he was manipulating that game when Atletico Madrid had possession. He was baiting them into passes they should never be making. There's definitely one like early on where like Saka just like inches towards, I want to say, Hanko, and so whoever's got the ball for Atletico just tries to ping one right across, and Zubimendi just knows exactly what Saka's doing, glides in, steals possession. I thought everyone on the pitch was pretty phenomenal, except David Raya. Buck up your ideas, David.
Yeah, David didn't have the best of games, but Zubimendi was exceptional. I thought he was so good. He does so much as well, because I had a few beers before kickoff last night. So, when you're not at your most observant during the game. So I watched this morning, as I was preparing my morning video, I was watching a lot of the game back on the Amazon stream, and Zubimendi was involved in so much more than even at the time. And I knew he was playing well at the time, but he was involved in so much more than I even realised. When it wasn't until I watched it back this morning, it's like, there he is again. He's part of this move that leads to this goal or leads to this chance. It's Zubimendi starting it off again. He was so important to that win.
Both he and Rice as well play this like the brilliant like pitching wedge pass over the top of the defence. And when you are coming against like these sort of two banks of four sitting between you and the goal, I think that's such an effective way of like just throwing a bit of chaos in. I mean, he ends the game as well as like he made the most chances for Arsenal. I mean, like most of the other stats, the stats are never going to shine through for Zubimendi, but like if the one that shines through is his chances created, he's done something very well.
Yeah, I love that one when he sort of flicked it around the corner for Gyokeres in the second half. So flicked it up and then nudged it around the corner for Gyokeres to. And Oblak again denied him. Right, should we move on to some questions now? Anything else you want to talk about on last night's game before we move on to them? Anything that stands out? No.
It was great.
It was great. Podcast done. It was great. We've got one from Swazi. It says, Charles and James, do you think Arteta should move Eza to the left 8 and Rice to the right 8, as it looks uncomfortable in the Odegaard position? Just have him in the same role, but from the left. Thoughts?
No. Partly because, I mean, like very often Arsenal are much more of a 4-2-3-1 this season, and Eze has been playing just kind of more as a 10. Also, like, I think what we should do is just assess Eberechi Eze against, like, he's playing in a different position on a different part of the pitch, and he's learning how to do that, rather than sort of kind of getting Declan Rice to move from a position where we know he's world class. Just trust that it'll come for your super talented new signing. I would say right now it's better to just learn through kind of him even failing, just not being as good as we know he can be.
I thought he was okay last night, though.
Yeah, I thought he was good.
I was surprised. There was quite a few people in my sort of mentions saying they didn't think he did that well. I mean, in that first half, when it was more of a tight game, pretty much everything good that Arsenal did, as it was involved in, hit the bar early on. He produced that lovely pass inside for Saka when Oblak made the save. It was Eze who sort of worked the ball onto Lewis Skelly for the shot that Lewis Skelly had. So I thought he was involved. He wasn't, an absolute standout performer, but he was involved and he was setting up chances and having chances himself, which is kind of what he's in the team to do.
Yeah, I think the best thing we can do is sort of give these players time. We can be as guilty of it as anyone, but certainly at this stage, 2 years ago, we were, what was the point of Kai Havertz? And I don't know, who else have we written off? Loads of players. Robert Perez needed time.
There's one here from Mr. Morale again on Eze. Says, I agree with what you said in yesterday's show about how different it is playing for Arsenal as compared to Palace for Eze, especially in relation to how much space he has. My question is, what ways do you think we can platform him better to make the most of his skill set? We've spoken about that loads for Gyokeres, but almost never for Eze, who we seem to expect to be Odegaard. Is there a really? I'm not sure there is a way you can play as Arsenal to really just kind of get more out of Eze. I just think he is having to adapt to a completely new way of playing and completely new way of teams playing against him as well. Like that, how many times would he have come up against Fulham playing the way that Fulham did at Craven Cottage at the weekend?
Someone's read my post-match piece.
Someone's what? Sorry? Someone's
read my post-match piece from the Fulham game.
Oh, did you do it on that?
Oh, didn't you read it?
I didn't. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah, well, that's what I asked Mikel about it after the game as well. And I mean, it's interesting. He says the same thing. I'm just looking at it now. More used to attacking open spaces and breaks and facing and carrying the ball with space in front of him. So, like, there are things you can do and things that Arsenal have sort of tried to do. Probably people are tired of me saying this, but Arsenal are playing quite often notably quicker this season, and I think in the 10 role or in any role, Eze will benefit from quick ball from Raya, quick ball from Zubimendi, so that he can turn and go. And I really like how you can see technically he just receives the ball ready to turn up the field. Sometimes like to a fault. I can't remember if it was Atleti or Fulham where it was Fulham, wasn't it? Where he just ran into 4 players. 4 Fulham players. I was like, maybe you can sometimes hold the ball, but there are things Arsenal can do that Arsenal are trying to do that will benefit Eze. So give it time. Give it time.
Right, we've got another one here. I think it is from Max. Does MLS's performance last night make you feel more or less confident that his future with Arsenal is at left back as opposed to, say, in midfield?
I'm still quite agnostic about it. Sorry, that was a rubbish sound. I'm quite agnostic about it. It was Gary Neville-esque. I mean, it's not like Ricardo Calafiori is not also sort of positioning himself aggressively in midfield when he's playing. So looks to me like that's the role that an Arsenal left back is going to play, and Lewis Skelly looks quite good at it.
Yeah, I thought it was great last night. Again, I mean, it was brilliant for the goal, obviously, for Martinelli's goal, but coming in, having not had that many minutes last night against a really good opponent, I thought he put in a really, really good performance. I'm just looking at another couple of questions here. There's one just sort of going back to Eze again. Kevin has asked, says, where do you think Eze should be playing? Or for your extra time show, where do you think Eze should be playing? He was okay last night, But do you think he could be tried somewhere else, like in an out-and-out 8 role with Rice as the 6? Because Zubimendi is now banned for the Prague game. I didn't realise that Zubimendi was banned for the Prague game.
It's a clever ban. That's a clever ban, because that means he'll be available for Bayern. And one of the intriguing things is, can you play Rice in Prague when Rice could get banned for the Bayern game? I mean, you will.
He's on 2 bookings, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, you obviously will, but you might want to win that game quickly and get him subbed off. You could also go back to the left wing thing in Prague. Maybe you could play Ethan Nwaneri as the right 8, Rice as the 6. Yeah, then you could play him left 8, but you could play Rice, Marino, Nwaneri, and Eze off the left. But really, I think for me, still, like, go back to what I said earlier. Give him game time to learn this position. I don't know what do people expect, that he's some sort of footballing savant who can play a completely different role in a completely different context, a completely different team, without maybe kind of getting it a bit wrong at first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't think we've seen a big enough sample size of him in that sort of 10 role that he seems to be occupying, because it is very much more of a 10 role, isn't it, that he's been playing of late. And the sample size just isn't big enough yet, and we do just have to give players, even players that come from other Premier League clubs, give them a little bit of time to adapt. I don't think he's done badly at all since he's been here. And I think back to, it was only a few games ago he went to the Newcastle away game at St James's Park, where I thought he was really, really good in that role. So I think it's far too early to be sort of writing him off and thinking, no, should we try and get him in another position? I think this is clearly the position that Mikel kind of sees for him at the moment and has landed on for him. So I think we got to give him a little bit of time, really. AFC Jack has asked, he says, who in the with the squad depth we have right now, it's amazing, but which player excites you the most when you see them play? An obvious answer for me, but it is Saka. Every time he gets the ball on the left foot, I can see it curling effortlessly into the top corner. The thing with Saka, he just goes so not under the radar, but everything's it's just a norm, isn't it, when Saka does brilliant stuff? And like we talk about brilliant performances yesterday, Zubimendi and everyone like that, but Saka, again, as you sort of mentioned, in that first half especially, still the guy, isn't he? And you go back to, we haven't really spoken about Fulham yet, but that second half, especially the performance at Craven Cottage, what Saka produced to help drive Arsenal on to get that win. He is still a man when it comes to Arsenal.
It's, I mean, like the Fulham game as well, that was captain's performance stuff, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
I think you just, like the guy that asked the question said, is a sort of little ripple of delight when Arsenal have, almost wherever it is on the pitch, when Arsenal have sort of manufactured getting the ball at Bukayo Saka's feet. You're like, yep, right. Part 1 is done. The game plan's working, and now Saka will almost certainly just do something marvelous. Yeah, and you're always willing the best as well, aren't you, for him? So yeah, it's an easy answer to that question. I agree.
Yeah. So you saw you spoke with David Raya, didn't you, in the mix zone yesterday after the game? What was he talking about? He was talking about the squad depth for Arsenal, wasn't it? It was sort of a big line of questioning.
Indeed, he was. Let me dig that out. Should have had that ready. Yeah, I mean, sort of saying, the depth of the squad is incredible. We've got a lot of players and a lot of players that can play 2, 3, 4 different positions. He mentions Marino as a striker, an 8, a 10. Okay. The variety the boss has. And then this is the thing that Arteta said as well, that the level in training in particular, if you're not at it every day, you can lose your spot in a fraction of a second. And you think they're experiencing that. They're living that now without Madueke, Havertz, Jesus, largely without Nkapie. You're going to tell me there's someone I've forgotten as well, but I think that's everyone. I mean, Norgard's been out a lot as well.
Yeah.
I think both of them have sort of really relished the challenge and the gauntlets that's been thrown down here. And if I was sort of joking quite cruelly, I would wonder if, these 11-a-side games that they'll play in training every once in a while, they must be more competitive right now than some of the actual games that they're playing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a battle to get into the team. And that's why when you look at, you think Trossard scored the winner against Fulham the weekend. Martinelli comes in, gets his chance yesterday, scores and produces a really good performance. Everyone's competing for their spots. And you can imagine in training, it's so competitive. So competitive. I mean, look at the bench yesterday. Kepa, White, Calafiori, Mosquera, Hincapié, Norgard, Marino, Ranieri, Trossard. And that is before you factor in, as you said, Madueke, Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, those sort of players who are missing through injury as well. It's so strong. I can't remember who was I watching the other day. It was Martin Samuel was on the Sunday supplement show, and he was saying, Arsenal by far and away have got the best squad in the Premier League.
I thought according to him, they'd given up on the title race.
No, well, he said that they've got the best squad, and he also said it's Arsenal's to lose, which made me laugh after 9 games this season. But yeah, he said they got the best squad in the league, and I think it's pretty hard to argue against that statement, though, isn't it? I mean, they do have the best squad in the league, arguably the best squad in Europe. They're the favourites now. Again, people that's being wheeled out again. Favourites of Premier League, favourites of Champions League.
Is that Opta's supercomputer?
Yeah, I think which madly gave Arsenal over a 50% chance of winning the league after the Fulham game. I saw the Opta supercomputer, and they're like Liverpool was about 18%, Man City was 17% or something like that, and Arsenal was over 50. I was like, how do you crunch the numbers and get to that after 8 games?
That seems high, but it does tell you how high their model will be on Arsenal.
Yeah,
I mean, the supercomputer thing's brilliant because I guarantee you, whatever the projections are, you could do it on your laptop. What was your question? I got sidetracked by thinking about this.
Just about the squad, is it the best squad in Europe right now?
Yeah, easy. I don't think anyone else. There are teams with like better top line talent. Like if you see what PSG did, like PSG's top 14 or so players, you probably would take over Arsenal's, maybe Madrid's as well. But like when you're down at like who's their 22nd best player, I will confess I don't know, but I know that Arsenal's 22nd best player, whoever that might be, is a seasoned international at top level. I mean, like there was something else I wanted to say, but it's gone completely out of my mind. Yeah, gone.
What did you make? Did you watch the rest of the Champions League when you got in last night or this morning? It was some crazy amount of goals yesterday. Crazy amount of goals. PSG hit 7, didn't they? PSV smashed Napoli for 6. Did you see the sending off in the Barcelona Olympiacos game?
That was an absolute disgrace.
Unbelievable. What's he seen? What has he seen to send the guy off for that? It's
bad
so
refereeing and pretty shameful play as well. I remember, it used to be that we would just criticize players for this, and I mean, like the referees get enough grief and plenty of it is deserved, but can we not make their life hard? Like Josh King did this at the weekend as well, didn't he? Like he was like aggressively stroked in the face by one of his own teammates and went down, and Arsenal lost an attacking position because, the minute these guys start holding their faces, or if they're a goalkeeper, just the minute they go down, game stops. Can we not allow that at all, please?
Yeah. No, some loads of great goals yesterday in the Champions League. I enjoyed that, watching it this morning. Always nicer when Arsenal got 4 of them as well. Look, I think that's it for today, mate. Been a pleasure, as always. Big one at you at Palace at the weekend. You going to that?
I am. Will I see you there, or are you going to
No, you won't. I'm not going at all. My wife is running the half marathon
you said, yes.
on Sunday morning, and I've obviously looking after the kids while she's doing it, and it was just going to be too much of a push to get up there in time because it's 2 p.m. kickoff. So unfortunately not. I won't be in the press box or in my seat on Sunday. I'm going to have to be watching it from the sofa, but fingers crossed we get the job done.
Arteta in person, I am excited.
Yeah, I'm not. I like Arteta. I think he's a really good player. I really do. It would have been handy had he not just bagged a hat-trick coming up to this game. But it's a big one for Arsenal. I feel like this is such an important period now with what's going on at Liverpool. Obviously, they will come back. They will start winning games again. But it feels like this is the moment, even at this early stage of the season, where Arsenal could really sort of stamp their authority on this league. And these next 3 games get up to the international break are really big. Who, by the way, would I heard, where did I hear this? There was a question, I think it was on the Arscast, and I was listening to it and I thought this is an interesting one. The question was, if you could pick one team to finish above this season, who would it be? So basically implying, the one team, you think if you finish above them, you win the league. Who would it be?
I still think it's Liverpool. I just think Erling Haaland will get injured. And I think I agree. Did you see what Paul Merson said about City without Haaland?
I think he said struggled to be top 4, didn't he?
Yeah. And I would say over 38 games, he'd be right.
Marmoush's coming back though. He wasn't he on the bench at the weekend, so they do have him coming back. And I think I was quite impressed with him second half last season.
Yeah,
but he's not Haaland, obviously.
No. And this team has just become like feed the ball to Haaland. FC. Like they're more the Erling Haaland team than Spurs were ever the Harry Kane team. To use that.
It's about 70% of their goals this season, isn't it? Haaland, something like that in the league.
Same amount of their XG as well. They are making like the game is about can we get shots for Haaland.
Mm-hmm. So you're still saying Liverpool finish above Liverpool, you win the league? You're saying?
Yeah. I don't know that they'll come good, but they definitely got the highest ceiling for me.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, mate. Pleasure talking to you
as well. Palace as well.
Palace as well, of course. We can't forget Palace. This is the James Benge derby this weekend, isn't it? Palace versus Arsenal. Who are you going to be secretly cheering for as when the goals go in?
Hopefully. My heart bleeds Eagle blood.
Where has this come from? Where has your Crystal Palace love in the last 2 years come from? Is it just Oliver Glasner?
It is indeed.
Fair play. Well, I hope you're very disappointed at the weekend then. Your turncoat, you switched Arsenal to Crystal Palace allegiance. Anyway, have a good one. Enjoy the game at the weekend. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you for listening. I'll be back in the morning to do it all over again. Anything you want me to talk about in the show, you know what to do. Get into the comments, leave me your opinions, your question, your comment. I'll pull some together as always and get them included. Take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.